It's just coming up to the 2-week marker. So the 2-week marker on Saturday morning for the Ranunculus. Now these always come up a lot faster. And remember, we sewed them all together in one tray this time, just so I could do it with you. And you can see that they are going to need separating. So don't worry if you can't do it today. Just make sure they have plenty of light so they don't get leggy. But do it over the weekend. Separate them out in their 15-cell trays. Now the anemones at 2 weeks are much slower, but we know that, don't we? And they flower quicker, so we don't really want them to be up as quickly as the Ranunculus, otherwise they'll start flowering before the first lot are finished, which will be no good at all. So you can see we've got some shoots. What I'll do is I'll take one for the team and I'll carefully take them out the tray so you can have a proper look. Then you can leave yours alone then. Okie dokie, here we are. So you can see that they're at different stages. This one is the furthest ahead. And then this one has got a little shoot and some roots. But some of them have only got roots and some of them are not doing anything at all yet. So don't let them, they're a natural product, don't let it fool you. They're a natural product, so they will come when they're ready. Now this is the compost, and I actually think this is a little bit wet. If I squeeze it, you can see it's clumping together. So what I'm going to do, it's probably just as well I took them out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix in a bit of dry compost with this. That'll absorb some of the moisture because you want the compost just wet enough to continue the waking up process. But if it's too wet, especially if you squeeze it and then water drips out of it, not quite got that here, but if that is what's happening, it's too wet and the corms might rot before they have a chance to wake up. So let's have a little fast forward. These are the autumn jump starter anemone corms, which is why I'm not in a hurry to have the next lot yet, because these are just now starting to get into their stride and flower. I've already had one crop of flowers off them. This is the next lot coming up, and as they start to get older, as the plants get older, the stems will get taller and bigger. So the first ones are always shorter. So that's nothing to worry about. But do make sure they've got enough space. If you confine them to too small a pot, or you squeeze too many corms in and they haven't got the room, they won't grow as big as this. They'll still grow, they'll still flower, but they won't be as big as this. Anyway, that's exciting, isn't it? Back to our corms. So I'm just going to add some dry compost to the compost mix I already had. And what that will do is it will just dry it out a little bit. And then the corms won't be so wet. And then hopefully they'll be really happy. These are going to go back up to the house because it's too chilly. It is not autumn anymore. It is too chilly and dark and damp in the greenhouse at the minute for these to do well. So they're going to carry on germinating in the house. But the Ranunculus, as they're all up and about and it isn't freezing outside, once these go into 15-cell trays, they can stay in the greenhouse. If you get a chilly night, just put a propagator lid over the top as a bit of double glazing. There we are. I thought you might like to have a quick look. So I've snuggled them all back in, and can you see how fluffy the compost is? Now with all soil and compost, in between the soil particles, the water and the oxygen share the same space. So too much water pushes the oxygen out, and when they're waking up they need the oxygen for their roots. So it's really important that you haven't got wet compacted soil, otherwise that will rot them off in no time.